Did US military insiders cash in on the Iran war? A quick look at Polymarket suggests that they might have. Polymarket is a platform used to bet on real-world events. People have used it to win money on everything from the US elections to the capture of Venezuela's former president. After the 12-day war between Iran and Israel last June, nearly $530 million has been traded on when the US would attack Iran next. Traders chose a range of dates on which it could take place. But then, something unusual happened. On Friday, February 27th, a day before the US and Israel attacked, a flurry of accounts placed last-minute bets on the strikes. These bets were so large that the market's odds changed from just a 7% chance on Friday morning to a peak of 26% that afternoon. 12 of those accounts had opened just days earlier and placed most of their bets in the 24 hours leading up to the strikes, suggesting that they'd been created specifically to bet on an attack that few others were expecting. Ultimately, it paid off. Just 6 accounts made a total of $1.2 million in profit. Their success raised the question, did senior officials use insider information to win money on an attack that they knew was coming? It wouldn't be the first time that it's suspected of happening. From December 30th to January 2nd, 6 new accounts were created that bet exclusively on events in Venezuela and maintained a perfect record. One of those accounts raked in over $400,000 by betting on Maduro's removal just hours before he was captured by the US military. And in February, 2 Israeli reservists were actually charged with using classified intel to place bets on last year's 12-day war. These people were likely guilty of insider trading, using confidential information for financial gain. But they also could have risked something much worse, leaking highly sensitive security information about an upcoming attack. And it's not just about 1 or 2 insiders. A lot of people betting on these online platforms don't just expect insider trading. They actually try and copy it to place more accurate bets, a practice that's known as insider hunting. Now, that's one thing when betting on live performances or guest star appearances. But when it comes to military operations, you could be leaking war plans to your enemy before the fighting has even begun. Say an insider places a large bet. Traders looking for suspicious activity notice that account and copy their bets. As others catch on and place more bets, more money pours in and pushes the odds for that event up. Enemy forces could see those rising odds as a sign that an attack is coming soon, ruining the element of surprise and potentially sabotaging the operation. But that's not the only danger. Betting could affect not just what the opponent sees, but how our own leaders make decisions or share information with the public. For example, powerful people who have placed big bets might manipulate intelligence or push for a certain action in order to cash in. And this risk isn't just confined to prediction markets like Polymarket. As oil prices skyrocketed last Tuesday, US Energy Secretary Chris Wright tweeted that the US Navy had escorted an oil tanker through the Strait of Hormuz. Crude prices dropped by as much as 19% in the expectation that oil could be safely transported through the strait. But just 10 minutes later, the secretary deleted the post and prices shot back up, leaving investors stunned. How could he not have double-checked a statement that he knew could impact markets so strongly? The opportunities for profiting off market volatility are plentiful at a time where traders are hanging on to every word from the Trump administration for a clue about when the war will end and when one of the world's busiest shipping routes will reopen. And in a war where military strategy is so tied into the global economy, can we really trust economic incentives to stay separate from security policy? Or, as the war continues, will the temptation for insiders to enrich themselves only grow?